Hello folks, glad you tuned in today. I want to show you some content. I had something kind of go on last night, kind of opened up my eyes, but I have a long history of this. This is Manny that's around my neck. He is my Nicaraguan boa, and I think, I don't recall numbers right off my head very well, but he's at least a year and a couple of months old. And but I had him out last night and I was working on the computer, and I like to get him out. I don't take him out every day because I gotta see what he's doing, because every day I just got a lot of stuff to do, and it's easy to forget that he's out, and I may put him somewhere, and then I get my mind gets that's not going to work. I have to hold my mic, and then I'll forget that he's out, and then a couple hours later, I'm like, oh crap, and then I run in there, and he's in the same spot. But so easy for this boa or all snakes to get out. If you have them out, and then they get out on their own, and you don't have a snake-proof home, or a snake-proof room. They just can go. I'm sorry, he's climbing all over me. But then you have to go search for them, and they can get anywhere. And let me just share a story with you. While I was growing up, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I had all kinds of snakes, and they were. This was a different time. So this was in the, probably, the early 80s, mid 80s. And so I had corn snakes and different snakes, rat snakes, and my snakes always got out. When you're 10, 11, 12, I'd have them out, or they'd work the top off. Back in the day, we had little aquariums with crappy tops that you had to put bricks on. They didn't have the stuff that they have today. All these specialty terrariums and aquariums and enclosures and cages. So back then, we just winged it. We didn't even know how to take care of the pets. We just tried our very, very best. No internet, no cell phones. But to get to the point, they got out, and I lost probably 5 snakes. We lived on a creek here in Texas, and they got out, got into the attic. We had mice everywhere because we lived on a creek. They probably did really, really well, as long as if they got outside, they went into hibernation. But I lost a lot of snakes, and I want to share. I also had a Burmese python that was probably about 3 feet long, and he got out, or she or he got out, and then I lost the Burmese python. I looked. We would look everywhere. We had a rather large house and lots of places to go, and we looked for weeks and turned everything inside out, and couldn't find my Burmese python. And then come later, I guess maybe winter came and it got cold, and I'd written, totally forgotten about the Burmese python, and I went to shut a drawer in my dresser, and the dresser drawer wouldn't go in. This was months, 5 months, 6 months later. And pushed the drawer in, after getting some clothes out, and the drawer wouldn't shut. And I was like, what the heck? I was probably 12. And I pulled the drawer out, and there was my Burmese python coiled up behind there. And so I was like, oh, I found my snake. Didn't find the other ones. Had a really cool corn snake, that was about 3.5 feet long, almost pinkish red, and back in the 80s, there wasn't all these breeder snakes and fancy snakes these days, designer snakes that you can just get online. But I lost them. So anyways, to the point. I had Manny out, and like I said, sometimes it's really easy to forget. But he crawled down my shoulder, and a pretty scary situation because your snake gets out in the house, and I'm bouncing around. Excuse me. Your snake gets out, and you're not aware of it for a couple hours or a day. Holy cow! Where can you find your snake? Some snakes, if it's 10 foot long, so much easier. But if you have a smaller snake, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, they can go anywhere. They can go into holes that you wouldn't think that they could climb into. So, but anyways, and it would just be devastating to have Manny, get out and get into the washing machine, get into the electronics in it and fry himself, or get into the refrigerator, or get into the oven, or get into the washer and dryer that's enclosed into the shelves. I mean, it would just suck. Let me just put a big exclamation point, suck. So, but I found it kind of funny. Manny got into my chair. I have a nice chair that I bought because I work at my desk a ton, and he disappeared under the chair. And I just wanted to point the video out. Sorry, I'm sitting here and it's boring, but if Manny had crawled where he was and I was in a panic and searching around the house, moving the sofa, moving everything around in a panic to find him, all the places that a snake can go, I would have never looked here, and I would have gone a week every day looking for him. And if he would have stayed there, I never would have looked in this spot. And I want to show you where he got, and I'm going to show you that now. Manny crawled up underneath Manuel. Manny, that's what I named him. He crawled up under my chair and coiled right up underneath it. So when you walk around, you couldn't see him unless you were crawling on your stomach and looking up at all the things, which you're not necessarily going to do, looking for a snake. I mean, unless I was, 10 years old again and I crawled around on the floor, or 5 years old. But it was very, very almost impossible to see him there. And that just goes to show you how difficult it would be if your snake gets out, and the places that they can go. And it's just devastating to lose an animal, a reptile, a dog, a horse. I mean, anything that are pets and that are precious to you. And it's just so easy for the snakes to get out, absent mind, or you could make a mistake. They could push the top off. You could have them out and forget them, like I tend to do. But I just wanted to bring this video to you because it's cool entertainment, to watch. And it also documents and maybe raises some awareness. You just got to be careful with our reptiles because they can get out and disappear, get outside, and that'd be tragic. And because they get outside, depending on your environment, they die, and that's sad. We don't want that. But thanks for viewing. My snake is hanging on me. Manny is such a cool Nicaraguan boa, such a chill snake. Loves to hang on. Has to have about 6 inches of his tail firmly grasped on a part of my body when I pick him up, and he can actually squeeze so tight that it cuts my circulation off on my hand, and he has wrapped around my neck. He's not big enough to, I can't undo it, but he will wrap around pretty tight where I'm like, oh, and talking kind of funny, just because that's how he hangs on. He fell as a baby, maybe 5 months old, just a little bit more to the video. 5 months old, I had him on a log and I had it propped up on a shelf. He climbed up on the log and he pushed the log off the ledge, and it fell about 4 feet to the floor, and he was attached to the stick. And I mean, it probably, just imagine you falling, 3 stories, 30 feet, 40 feet to the concrete. It just rattled him. And so I don't know if that has something to do with it, but this snake, when it gets off the ground or off something that he knows he's situated on, he holds on so tight. Just another funny story. But all right, enough stories. I'll catch me on the next video. Appreciate your time. Love everybody that tunes in and comments. And if you don't comment, comment. If you want to. I mean, it's not a big deal. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for your time. Strolling down memory lane, as I often like to do, and I wander off on tangents. But here's a picture of Manuel when the second day that I had him, or the first day that he came out of the box. He was a little tiny Nicaraguan boa, just a little bitty baby. And now he's grown so much and turned into such a great snake. But I wanted to share this photo, can go down memory lane. Okay,